Hi, I'm Mark Furman, President, co-owner of R. Murphy Knives.
And I'm Mimi Yonkins, his wife and the other owner of R. Murphy Knives.
We have been manufacturing knives for over 164 years. In front of us here is the active product line. We make over 200 different styles of blades and have over 600 SKUs of knives and products. Some of our knives we've been making for well over 100 years, particularly the shoe and leather knives, rubber industry knives, paper industry knives. And a lot of them have been repurposed for different industries. For instance, a lot of the shoe and rubber knives are now food processing knives used by snack manufacturers and cereal manufacturers. So this is a whole line of repurposed industrial knives.
And we've been making oyster knives for over 100 years. These wooden handle knives are the traditional oyster knives that, again, have been made for over 150 years by us and others. And we still make all those, also with plastic handles. Plus we've developed several new oyster knives that no one else makes. And these are some that were included in the shellfish knife set that went to the Oscars yesterday.
Now, Mimi, tell me about that set.
Okay.
What do we have in there?
Okay, so we have this one is called the Narragansett. We have 3 different shaped handles. This is one of the knives we developed. We call this our New England Trio, the Wellfleet, the Damariscotta, and the Narragansett. To LA, we sent our Narragansett, our little neck clam knife, our crab meat knife, and our New Haven oyster knife, one that we've made for over 150 years, the only one with the bent tip. And the reason we sent that is because it was named the best oyster knife by America's Test Kitchen and featured in Cook's Illustrated magazine. So we have this beautiful, soft leather roll that is made right here in Massachusetts by Curry Leather. They make all our sheaths for our hunting knives and fishing knives, and he developed this beautiful leather roll full cowhide.
Yeah, that's very soft too. I felt that. It's almost like a chamois.
It is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like somebody said to me, whose BMW did you steal that out of? So that's what we sent along with our t-shirt.
That's a great gift set.
It is. It is. So we don't know if Meryl Streep will be opening oysters with our Narragansett oyster knife or cracking crabs or whatever.
But either way, she wins.
Right.
Now, what do they call that when you? Is it called shucking?
Yes.
Oysters.
Yes. There's many methods. That's why there's a lot of different types of oyster knives. But the one most people are familiar with is the hinge, going in from the hinge and drilling in and then popping it open. But there's breaking and there's stabbing too. And
Wow.
so stabbers have this type of handle, and breakers have a big handle like that, so you can break the bill and go in through the bill. Stabbers, they usually in meat shucking plants, they stab in there, and then they just rinse everything down and then package it up for the restaurants and things.
Right.
So they don't need to have it neat, which is that restaurants do hinge shucking because it's neat.
Touch a little upon how many different articles and magazines you've been in and been recognized by different groups and
Well-
organizations.
Well, as we've grown, we've gained some momentum, and this past holiday season, I'd say, was our biggest exposure yet
Absolutely.
in the out there in the world. So we were in the Wall Street Journal Holiday Gift Guide, Martha Stewart Holiday Gift Guide. We're in Food 52, the Daily Grommet. We were in Playboy, which was shocking awesome, according to Playboy, and
Edible Boston.
Edible Boston, Food Network Magazine,
Boston Globe.
Boston Globe,
Yankee Magazine,
AOL Kitchen Daily. I don't think I missed any.
I think that's the list.
Well, that's quite the honor to be from a small town
Right.
company and hometown company. That's great.
Right, we've really been able to grow, get our name out there, and that's what we're still working on. Plus, we're developing new products with the help of some of those, particularly the Food 52. And Mark's been very busy developing new products, which is exciting.
All right, well, we'll go take a look in the shop.
Yeah,
Okay, this is where the process begins. The steel comes into this loading dock. It comes in essentially two forms, as sheet or strip. And depending on what knife we're making, we might use sheet or we might use strip. Two types of steel. One is stainless steel. It's a high carbon stainless steel, and the other is just carbon steel, the high performing, edge retaining carbon steel.
Yeah, that's a what?
This is a commercial grade Boston oyster knife with a plastic handle. This is the skeleton that's left after the knives are blank in the stamping press. This was a knife that formerly we would use a water jet process to cut. Because of the popularity of this knife now, it made sense to invest in tooling, so we now stamp it on our
And
press.
mostly Rudy sits there and presses the pedal. This is I forget what ton,
45 pounds.
45-ton press, and they go through and blank out the shapes of whatever knife it is. So when you so you get a shape, and that's all you've got. You don't have a hard piece of steel that makes a blade. You don't have anything but a shape, no edge. That's it, and that's what the press does.
So, there's you slide this into I call it a hole. I call it the hole.
It's a hole.
Yeah, slide it straight in, and then put it to the right.
You're putting a blank in there, right?
Yep, this is the blank blade. Hasn't been grinded or edged. Nothing done to it yet. Hasn't even been heat treated, so this is a blank blade. Nothing's been done to it. So, put it straight in, pop it to the right. There's a pedal down here. Press the pedal. And it puts a hole in the blade, at the bottom of it. Now this
Show me that
hole-
blade. Hold it right up. That's it.
This is how when you go to pin it, when you put the pin inside, this is how you line it up and all that, so you know where the pin goes in.
Do all the tool and equipment repairs here. We do fabrication.
Now it takes about 6.5 minutes for it to cook in there. And then when that light goes off, that's how we know this one. The light goes off. So the light goes off, take it from here, and then you put it
steel at a time. Anyway, it gives us a ton of flexibility. It's great for prototyping, great for small runs, and we can do things that we never did before, like a lot of our tooling is fabricated using this machine.
What's the machine called, Mark?
This is a water jet made by Omax, and what it does is shoots a high pressure stream of water around 55,000 psi. The water itself does not do the cutting, so there's an abrasive that gets drawn into the mixing tube, the nozzle, and that shoots the abrasive water, and the abrasive cut the steel. And you can use this to cut anything. It'll cut wood, cut plastic, cut granite, whatever you want to cut, it'll cut.